Hi, let's start that again. So this is the first of a few different perspective walk tutorials. The first one that I want to do is kind of like a zoom cropping. You'll have seen this technique used a lot on social media and a end of other things. So I've got a clip off pexels.com. Downloads. It's called Production ID 372513. I've ended up downloading a lot of stuff recently, so I'm just going to search for that. There we go. Let's bring that in, and let's have a little look at it. So it's a nice little aerial shot of a drone flying over somewhere. I mean, where that somewhere is right now to us isn't really all that relevant. Let's make that full screen, and I'm going to go in list view just because I want to have a little look at the information of the video clip. If I scroll across here in the project window, eventually it's going to tell me, perfect, it's 496 by 2160. That is 4K resolution. Wonderful. I'm going to show you this in two different methods. Let's just come back to editing mode because we don't need it for anything else. Oh, lovely. It's just casually opened up my previous project while we do that, which is, excuse me, absolutely fine. Now, I know that if we just close off these sequences here, you guys are pretty used to just dragging your clip over to make a new timeline, and that's okay, that works. It'll make a timeline with exactly the same file name as the video clip you dragged over with exactly the same settings. So if we just call this ZoomCrop 1, so that we can find it later on, and I'm obviously using quite a small screen, but if I play the timeline through, you'll see that it's just playing the footage, so that's all it's going to do because I haven't done anything to it. At some point we're gonna do a little zoom and crop, and then I'm going to show you how to do it that it won't pixelate. So I think we're going to do it relatively early on actually. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the razor tool. I'm just going to cut out two sets. Well, I'm just going to cut out a small clip of the video. That's probably far enough there actually. Let's delete that edit there. So I've just got this little clip, and I'm going to go into effect controls here. I'm just going to scale this up. Let's try 130. When I play that through, it's going to jump and be bigger, and then it's going to jump back. And I think it came back a little bit too soon, so I'm just going to use the rolling edit tool, which should allow me just to extend my scaled up clip into the other clip. Let's just play that through. Okay, and that is a zoom and crop. We watch it on full screen. I mean, the monitor is in no way 4K resolution, so we are not going to see the impact that that has had on the pixels. But let's see if we can see it at 100%. I'm going to just use the H tool there to get the hand. And let's just scrub back. So that's the original footage. And then that's it zoomed in to 130%. So I'm looking for any sort of pixel edging. I'm looking for the straightness of the white lines and the clarity of them. I'm looking for the edges on the buildings and the clarity of those. You can definitely see at the point that it scales in, definition gets lost. I'm looking at like the trees and the bushes. They just kind of turn into blobs, and it's not great, is it? But that's what a lot of people do, and it's absolutely fine. Like if you're making a video clip for Instagram or TikTok, I'm pretty sure you'll get away with it. But on this course, we like to know how to do things in all different ways, so we'll do things the right way just as much as we'll do things the wrong way. In my opinion, that right there is the wrong way. The right way, click on the new item icon or right click and go to new item, or go file, new. It's going to go to the same place. We want a new sequence. I like to do it that way. And we want it to be 1080p. The footage is progressive footage, So, and it's 24 frames a second, which we know, just in case we're not sure, it tells us in here that the footage is 24 frames per second. So let's make a new sequence, digital SLR, 1080p, 1080p 24. Hit OK, and we'll call this one ZoomCrop No Pixelation, which is a long title. Now, it's important here, if we look at the image on the left, when I drag this clip over, it's going to ask me to change the sequence settings. I don't want to, I'm going to keep existing sequence settings, and instantly it already looks as if it's zoomed in, right? Which is weird. I mean, it's not weird for those of you that understand why it does that. There's the island there on the left-hand image. This is the original resolution, and here it is on my sequence. And the reason for that is because my sequence is a quarter of the size of the actual video clip, which means I can scale the video clip back. So 51%, that's pretty much the same as what the original is, except it's only 50% of the size. Why is that important? Well, if we look at it at 100%, and we look at this at 100%, we can still see that there's a lot of room for maneuver. We can essentially, this clip on the right, we can scale this up without any pixelation. So let me show you. Go through it again. Let's come back to fit, just because that island's a good reference point. Let's cut a chunk out there. Let's scale this bit up then to 100. And let's go back to this one, and let's put this back to 100 as well. We can see now, or hopefully, that the resolution and the quality is exactly the same. The bushes over here are exactly the same as the bushes over here. They haven't lost any definition. The straightness of the rooftops are exactly the same. The straightness of the white lines are exactly the same. So if we put this to play at full screen, and then we play that through, we're going to get that nice crop, nice zoom and crop, and then it's going to come back out to the wider shot. Now granted, when we export this video, the biggest we're going to be able to export it is at 1080p. But, I mean, who's watching it back at 4K? Really, very few people are. So, the main tip from this video is to do what's called a zoom crop, where you take a single video clip, you cut it in two places to create a single clip, you go into that clip, and you increase the percentage of the scale, which is in the effect controls. If you're starting from 100%, take it to about 130 and then come back to 100, and it'll do that effect for you. However, it will pixelate, so your best bet is to have footage that's far bigger than your sequence. So go and get some 4K footage, put it onto a sequence that's 1080p, and then when it scales up, you won't notice any pixelation because there is no pixelation. Okay, that's zoom and crop. That's the first tutorial of the day. Enjoy.